Hey guys, we've been looking at the people that Jesus appeared to in person after his resurrection. We're actually still on the Sunday appearances, people that he saw the day that he came back from the grave. And you have to think about this. All this is still very fresh for those who did not get to see Jesus. It would be really hard for them to believe, no matter who's telling them that this has happened. If they haven't seen him, it'd be really hard for them to believe that he was alive. Bonnie and I were, actually the whole family, we were talking with Jackie, my daughter, on Sunday, reliving an event. Now, Jackie is now 13. She'd be happy if I said it this way. Jackie is almost 14. And she was reliving this moment when she was a little kid. And she could not understand how her mother had 2 flowers on her shoes and Jackie only had 1. It was so devastating for her as a little kid. It made her so angry, and she remembers feeling literally so confused when Mom would tell her that it's because that's how they made the shoe, and maybe only 1 flower would fit on the shoe, or Mom would say, I don't know why they didn't give you 1 or 2 flowers on your shoe and they gave me 1 on mine. But Jackie just didn't believe her that that's just how they were made, and it's like she took it personally, and Jackie remembers, she says this, she's like, I remember not really being jealous, if a little kid could understand jealousy. She was just super confused and just couldn't believe what her mom was telling her. And then Mom got mad. You're trying to tell this kid, it's just how they are. I don't know what to tell you. I got 2 on mine, you got 1 on yours. And Jackie just couldn't understand. And Mom finally just got mad about the whole thing. So Jackie now, when she explains it, she says, well, now I understand why Mom got mad about it. But at the time, she says, I just couldn't believe that there was a good reason why I only had 1 flower on my shoe and Mom had 2 on hers. And no matter how hard Jackie says she tried to understand it, tried to believe it, she just couldn't believe it. She was so absolutely confused. Now listen, the Bible tells us about the disciples in Mark chapter 16 and verse 12. And it says this, after Jesus appeared in a different form to 2 of them, remember the 2 that were going down the road of Emmaus while they were walking in the countryside, these men returned and they reported it to the rest of the disciples that they had run into Jesus and he was alive. But verse 13 says, but they did not believe them either. They didn't believe Peter, they didn't believe them, they didn't believe the girls. It was just super hard to believe. But then Jesus shows up. Chapter 24, and we're going to read verse 36 on for a little bit. It says this. So while they're still talking about this, they're talking to those 2 guys that are like, yeah, he came. They're still talking about this, and even though they didn't believe him, all of a sudden, eventually, Jesus himself stood among them. And he said to them, peace be with you. Yeah, somebody coming back from the grave, walking into your room and saying, peace be with you. I'm just not sure that peace is going to be with you at that moment. But that's what he said. He said, guys, relax. And they were startled and frightened and thought they saw a ghost. And he said to them, why are you troubled? And why do doubts rise in your mind? Look at my hand and look at my feet. It's I myself. Touch me and see. A ghost doesn't have flesh and bones as you see I have. Well, when he had said this, he showed them his hands and his feet, and while they still did not believe him because of joy and amazement, he asked them, well, do you got anything here to eat? And they gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he took it and he ate it in their presence. And he said to them, this is what I told you while I was still with you. Everything must be fulfilled that is written about in the law of Moses and the prophets and the Psalms and the scriptures. And then he opened their minds so they could understand the scriptures. The trick was that Jesus Christ opened their minds so that they could believe it. He had to do it to the guys on the road to Emmaus as well. And in fact, I think he still has to open our minds, people even living today, for us to understand and to believe. Like Jackie as a little kid who just could not understand or believe that there was a good reason for her little shoes to only have one flower while her mom's had two. Until she got older. And there are some things in this life and in the life to come that you just can't or aren't able to believe without God revealing it to you. Here's maybe an example. Sometimes it's really hard to believe that God has our best interest in mind. There's a couple verses that remind us, you know these verses, Romans 8:28. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who believe in him, who have been called according to his purpose. John 10:9 says, Jesus says this, I'm the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture. Do you know what that, just think of the concept of, in the mind of a sheep, the only thing they care about is having a really nice pasture. God says, I'll protect you, I'm the gate, I'll keep you safe, and you could have pasture at any time. And then the next verse, he says, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to its fullest. Sometimes with everything going on around you, that one, to think that God has your best in mind all the time is hard to believe. Sometimes it just seems confusing, but it is true. But if you still don't believe it, ask God to open your mind. Because there's a lot out there that God understands. That man, you and me, our minds just can't. But God is looking to reveal those things to you. Do yourself a favor. Just ask him. We'll see you tomorrow.